So you've probably already heard the advice before. If you get off your phone, your ADHD will be much better. Just spend less time on your phone. Get off those devices, man. Don't bring your phone to bed. And yeah, that is better for your ADHD by far. But the thing is, your ADHD is the thing that puts you on the phone. So it's like being told that you should not be stressed out. It's like being told you should try being taller. Let's face it, being off your phone is hard. And then when you're not on your phone, it's not enjoyable. We're also told that being off the phone will actually help you at work. It'll help you remember things that are going on at the meeting. It'll help you to pay attention. You won't be as distracted. Yeah, it's gonna help me at work, but work needs me to be on my phone. So the problem is that being off your phone is actually easy. Just getting off your phone, it's easy, but it's hard to enjoy. Now, I did a little looking around online because I wanted to see what other people were saying in this subject, and there's definitely some helpful stuff out there. And a lot of it has to do with actually like modifying the phone itself and different third-party apps and things like that. I'm sure that's great advice, but it all started to sound like the same thing. And it also felt like I'm just spending more time on my phone trying to get it so that I spend less time on my phone. And I was really looking for something outside of the box. Surely there are other things that are a little more sustainable than just keeping your phone modified so it keeps itself away from you. How do I keep myself away from it? And sure, I could have my phone like lock me out of doing certain things, but then I just get back into that problem where now I'm just lying in bed looking at the ceiling and I'm bored. It didn't, to me, really feel like a complete solution. Well, I actually found something that I haven't heard anyone else talk about when they're giving advice about how to stay off your phone or just spend less time on it. And it doesn't require you just pushing on yourself to be more disciplined and work harder and try harder and be bored more often. So these are just a few things that I've learned, some things that I actually do in my own life that really helps me to get off my phone. Now, I'm not a technology reviewer, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about all these different technologies. I will say that I do have a dumb phone, which is actually just a smartphone. Now, if you're not familiar with the term, a dumb phone is, as the word implies, it's the opposite of a smartphone. And typically it means that people will actually buy like a flip phone, like the old school flip phone. And you can buy these, like there's companies that are still making them. And there's this niche market out there for people who want to just carry around a flip phone because it is limiting in what it will allow you to do. It's meant to be there just so that you can send texts. And there's some fancier ones that allow you to put on some Android apps on there as well. So you can still talk with people on WhatsApp and different networks because, of course, nowadays, no one really talks by pure text message anymore. At least that's been the minority. And that's why I decided to change my own personal smartphone into a dumb phone, which just means that I disabled certain functionality on it. I removed every app that's not just purely a messaging app, that sort of thing. But again, since this video is not about having the phone keep itself away from you, I wanted to explore what's on the other side of that. So before we even get into the route of resisting temptation or finding ways to keep yourself stimulated and interested and just not bored when you're not on your phone, there's a lot of use cases where I get on my phone, not because I'm just so tempted by it, it's because I feel like I have to. When I leave a voice memo, I use the voice memo app on the phone. And this is where, for things that I do often, I look for analog replacements for it. So I give the example of leaving a voice memo. I like doing that a lot. I like capturing really messy thoughts in the moment. Sometimes that'll actually end up as a YouTube video. So I actually bought this voice recorder. It's beautiful, right? It's like this, it's made by Sony. It's this gorgeous just piece of technology. But the best feature about it is that all it does is record audio. It doesn't even upload to the cloud. Objectively, it is not as convenient as the phone, and that's not a problem for me. It has this one port where I charge it and I transfer the files, so I'll just do that every once in a while. And there's a place on my computer where I keep them and I can even transcribe them and put them into my journal. Again, I'm not a technology reviewer. Really, the point is, this is a means for me to put my phone down, put it in a closet somewhere and walk away and be totally fine with that. If I go for a walk in the park or something, I can take this with me and just know that I have that option that was on my phone with me still. It's still a piece of technology, but this isn't something that I have to look at or pay attention to. I'm not going to doom scroll on it and so on. So analog replacements are really key for me. And of course, this is a very personal thing, right? Like you should look at things that you do in your phone that maybe you'd be okay just having some other device for it. Or maybe you don't even need another device. Maybe there's just an analog version of it. Maybe a paper and pen journal do just as well for you than keeping a digital journal. In fact, it turns out that there's some research that shows that when you're writing something, it actually helps you to process and think and remember information than you do when you're typing it out. So there's really something to that. It's a feature that it slows you down if you're a fast typer, that it slows you down when you're actually writing something down. I think it's worth trying, like you'd be surprised how expressive you can be with your own thoughts when you're just writing things down or if you're saying your thoughts out loud, that sort of thing. Same thing goes with music players. Maybe you don't necessarily want to be on your phone. It could just be that you like listening to music. There are still music players out there. You can get used ones for very cheap that, hey, it's another thing to keep charged. Maybe it's not quite as advanced as some of the newer stuff in terms of synchronizing content on the cloud and that sort of thing. But hey, maybe the benefits of just having a lot of time where you can stay off of your phone and get that mental clarity is worth it. So it's something to consider. And I will say my all-time favorite analog device is the Sunday New York Times. Literally this physical copy of the Sunday New York Times. I get it home delivered pretty much anywhere in the United States. You can get a copy of the Sunday New York Times. Why the Sunday one? Because it's the big one. It's got all the special sections in it. It comes occasionally with the New York Times Magazine. A lot of times it'll have just kind of one-off special inserts in it that have different kinds of content on it. You can play games on it. I think we often think about newspapers as just being the news. And the reason why I say the New York Times specifically, what I found is that it just has so much good quality stuff in it. You have content that goes way beyond the news. Cooking and games, opinion articles. There's this section that I really like called The Q, where they just get like some staff member from the New York Times and they ask them, what are your favorite things? What's some music that you're really into right now? What's a show you're watching, a book you're reading? There's just so many examples of this that, like, I personally hate reading the news. It just depresses me. And I find that if I just skip the front page section, the rest of it's pretty good. There's a lot to get into here. But I also want to say something about why I get it as a physical copy. It's not just because I'm getting off my phone. Obviously, that's a huge part of it. A newspaper or maybe even a magazine, it's like the ultimate gadget. There's no battery to charge, right? Like the screen doesn't go to sleep. It's a foldable device, right? It's like it folds from like a handheld form into a huge display. It's, when you think about it, maybe we lost something going to the digital version of these things. I also love that sharing content with people might surprise them when you hand them a newspaper article, but think about how hard it is to share content from a newspaper app. I share some content with someone, and if they're not a subscriber, they have to log in with their account to view the full article. With the paper version, I can just tear it out and hand it to them. I know this sounds crazy in the digital age, but I think we've forgotten like how good things are when they're just kept simple. But hey, if the newspaper isn't your thing, there's also comic books, there's graphic novels. There's actually even this type of booklet that you can usually find at magazine stands and newsstands and things that it's literally just like a compilation of different games and puzzles and find what's different between the two pictures. So I have this one it's in French because I'm trying to keep my French language skills going, but of course they have these in English as well. Gather up an arsenal of things that are just like offline, analog, interesting things that you can keep by your bedside. Leave your phone behind once you go to bed. If you're not sleepy right away, then you can just look through a crossword puzzle or play the spelling bee or, whatever it is, or like look through a comic book or a graphic novel, just whatever it is, just to give you this replacement for that stimulation that you get from bright colors on your screen. I mean, it all sounds silly, but hey, if it gets you off your phone and you get better sleep for it, you're going to get so many returns on that investment. So again, it's not about getting your phone to keep itself from you. It's about getting yourself to stay away from it. And the thing that I never hear people talk about is the detachment from your phone, literally just putting it somewhere where you are not able to use it. It's hands down the most effective way to get off your phone for long periods. It does help to have maybe a dumb phone that can help you to do that. So with my dumb phone, I've got some messaging apps on it. I like to call it my bat phone, by the way, because it's not particularly dumb. I'll tell people that I don't have my phone on me and that if they need to reach me, they can call me on my bat phone for emergencies and so on. Just it keeps it playful. But detaching yourself from your phone, not just by putting it down, but by making it where you can't actually reach out and get it, putting it in another room, or like leaving the house to go do something and just leaving your phone behind. I would say that is the most effective strategy for staying off of your phone. But it's something that I think it's easy to say, I'm going to go do this, but to actually put it into practice, what you really need is to decide where are your sacred places. Sacred kind of has a religious context to it, but the way I mean it here is there are places, there are activities, there are times of day that are sacred. Those are the ones that you have to follow a promise to yourself to keep your phone not just off, not just not in front of you, but far away from you. Really detach from it. When I go on a walk with my dog, I leave my phone behind. And all the time, I've got this urge to reach into my pocket and just do something really quick, or I want to look something up that I just thought of. And I simply can't. I can't. It's not with me. And that way of keeping off my phone has been the most effective one. It's even more effective than the analog replacements because it just keep getting sucked into the stupid thing. Now, I understand this is a channel about ADHD in the workplace. And as I said earlier in the video, work wants you to be on your phone. At least a lot of jobs are that way. It actually can look bad if you're not on your phone for a while because you're just expected nowadays to respond to messages right away. And while I wouldn't say that there's nothing you can do about that, to me, it's like when I go to the gym, I try to keep my physical fitness up, but I go to the gym before I go to work so that I can enjoy that fitness during the day. I'm not going to do a workout in the middle of my workday. So it's about finding that time outside of work so that you can keep yourself cognitively fit by not being on the devices often, that I find to be the most helpful. Now, are there things you can do during the workday to stay off your phone? Probably. And a lot of that depends on your particular workplace and your particular situation. I know that there are Microsoft Teams and Slack and all these different platforms. They have ways of leaving an away message on them. Sure, you can set up different times where you decide to take a little phone break. Maybe you talk with some colleagues. Maybe you get a little bit of work done that for one reason or another, you don't need a screen to do it. These things exist, but you should probably ask yourselves, what are the times where I'm on my phone because it's externally required of me to be on it? And what are the times where it's so hard for me to not be on my phone and I'm doing wasteful things? Personally, and I know this is true for a lot of people, that time is number one, it's like before I go to bed and right after I go to bed. The magical solution there is that I don't take my phone into the bedroom. It does not go in there. My dumb phone can stay with me, by the way, because that doesn't distract me very much. If there are a couple messages, I'll just send them off and then I'm done. But that may even be too much of a distraction for you, then don't do that either. If you use your phone as an alarm clock, just get a separate alarm clock. Or, maybe it's enough just to use your watch as your alarm clock, depending on how distracting you find it. Personally, I wear my watch when I go to bed. I don't really find it that distracting. I turn off notifications on a regular basis. So that works for me. Like anything, it's a matter of finding what works for you. So look, that's really like the best stuff that's been working for me personally lately. And I'm just one person. And I'm sure that if you check out the comments below, you will see tons of other advice from people who have tried things that work for them that might help you as well. So if you have something that you want to add to this list, please leave a comment below, help some other people discover how to stay off their phone. I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say about this topic. So until then, this has been Adam Grant, and thanks for watching.